Hello again, everyone. This is Jim here with a New Year's Day edition of Beating Obesity. Happy New Year, everyone. This is kind of a sort of a companion video to one I released just a few days ago, where I was talking about extremism. Uh, in that video, I just hope it's clear I wasn't advocating that you have to be extreme. I was just saying, don't really, in a nutshell, don't worry if you're referred to as extreme by others, because whatever you do, somebody's gonna label as extreme. So I was just saying, don't pay attention to the labels others might put on you. Do what feels good. Um, in this video, since it's January 1st, this is the time when we typically start talking about New Year's resolutions. And I'm not a big fan of New Year's resolutions. Um, and I'll go into that, but since it is New Year's Day, and you know, even if you don't call it a resolution, this is I advocate thinking about making self-improvements continuously throughout the year, not just on New Year's Day, but it is New Year's Day, so let's talk about it. Why I'm not a big fan of resolutions is because typically the track record on resolutions is not very good. And I think we all know that. And it probably in my audience, my listening audience, this is kind of understood, but maybe not. So I'm just going to repeat it for a few people that might not know. But, we make these resolutions, and to me, what they really are kind of things that we should have been doing, and maybe we procrastinated and didn't do them, and we put them off. Yeah, we'll take care of that, after the first of the year. And I'm gonna, we tend to think, oh, I'm gonna change everything. I'm gonna, we have these plans. We make these big, elaborate plans. We're gonna improve ourselves. We're gonna lose weight. We're gonna exercise. We're gonna get a gym membership. I'm gonna, any number of things it could be. I'm gonna meditate every day. I'm gonna work out 5 times a week. And it is just overwhelming, and it's a setup for failure because we charge into it. We're all charged up, and it's based on emotion, a huge amount of emotion, and unsustainable emotion. I mean, we charge out there and grind away, and after a week it's like, wow, man, this is pretty tough. You get into the second week, and you're looking for the exit because it's not sustainable. And so this is my point, is that anything based on trying to do too much all at one time, and it requires a lot of emotion, is going to fail. I use an analogy sometimes, like to a fireplace. You can start a fire easily by stuffing it with a bunch of paper, and it will just ignite, and it'll burn gloriously for about 30 seconds, 45 seconds, and then it's gone. The fire's out. This is what you want. This is not the way you want your New Year's resolutions to go. Start with a lot of heat and light, and just extinguish after 3 weeks. So we tend to overdo it. So this is the opposite. This is the other side of the coin. This is where I'm advocating, do not be an extremist in terms of the volume of plans that you try to stuff into January 1st. You're just not going to be able to do it all in one fell swoop. So my advice is to take a gradual approach, and incorporate things into your life systematically, incrementally. And to do this not on just January 1st, make it a habit. It is January 1st, so we're going to talk about, I'm going to talk a little bit about my goal, which, I mean, it's not really a goal, but it's just what I'm currently working on. Just to backtrack a little bit, a quick reflection on my on my weight loss journey. It didn't start on January 1st, and it wasn't based on some grand plan I had and with a lot of emotion. In fact, if you remember, I've told this story many times in my earlier videos. It was more or less just by happenstance. I stumbled upon a few things with no plan and no expectation to succeed. And this was in the summer. And then little by little, I hit a couple things that were working a little bit. And then once I went on a fast and I read Dr. Fung's book, a light went on, and I said, hey, I think I'm going to try this one meal a day. And I think I'm going to clean up my diet. I think I can do that. Let's try it. Again, no expectations. And that led me to where I am today because that worked. And then I started the process of incrementally improving that and changing and growing as the weight came off and as my life changed. So, I'm here not because I made a grand plan on it wasn't a result of a New Year's resolution. It was just, I was the kind of person, like many, who would try something new in January, and it would always fail. I would not think it through very, very well, and like I said, put a lot of emotion on it, and it was kind of guaranteed to be not sustainable, the type of effort I was putting into it. So obviously I've gone through a lot of changes. I'm not the same person I was 4 years ago. I eat different food now. I'm totally happy with my lifestyle, but I keep moving forward. I have something on the horizon that I'm working towards all the time in terms of self-improvement. I always want to have something that I'm working on. And so this is kind of my approach to for anything, whether it doesn't have to be weight loss. It could be for, like I said, for peace of mind, or for self-improvement, or building better relationships with your family members, or becoming smarter, reading books, whatever part of your life you feel needs attention. It's something you should kind of always have in your mind, kind of a template. You should be thinking about it all the time and kind of prioritize the things you want to work on, prioritize them, and always be thinking about how you're going to approach that next thing. And what I'm working on right now, I'll just get this out of the way. Again, this isn't a huge thing, and I've already been working on it a few weeks, about 3 weeks, is I'm exploring the benefits of what's known as low heart rate training. This mainly applies to runners or people who do a lot of cardio. Been researching this. I'm not totally unfamiliar with it, but I've been looking into it, and what caught my eye is that it is supposedly something that will help reduce stress on your body, and that if you do too much higher intensity cardio work, it actually becomes a stressor. And not a stressor that not necessarily like a mental stress or whatever, but a body stress. The body sort of interprets fast running with a high heart rate as a threat, as something that suddenly hormones are involved, cortisol is released, adrenaline is released, and if you're doing this persistently all the time, slightly elevated stressor on the body, it's not such a good thing. And I sort of have a feeling that maybe I'm stressing myself with. I don't pay attention. I haven't paid attention to my heart rate during runs, but I know from the little that I've done is that I'm up in a. They have zones for heart rate, like zone 1 through 5 typically, and it's all based on, let's say, your resting heart rate on one side, and at the upper end is your maximum sustainable heart rate. And they've identified everywhere in between with zones. And if you stay fully in what they call zone 2, which is a totally aerobic zone, it's just a little bit between walking and jogging, let's say. These are where the most benefits probably can be had. I'm going to say the most benefits, because not only do you develop your aerobic system, but you avoid the stress, the body stress, and you can still your speed and strength can still develop even with the low intensity. So anyway, I'm kind of looking into this now, and I've been doing it, and I'll be honest, the initial feeling I have is this is going to be good. I feel good. Actually, I look forward to the runs more than I ever have. It feels really nice. So this low heart rate training is something I'm going to be working on. It takes some work because you really have to force yourself to go slow. I mean, to be honest, to stay in a total aerobic zone, it's like I'm just really jogging. It feels like I'm not working, but at all. But I've got to change my mentality. That's what I got to work on. I'm kind of the old school mentality. No pain, no gain. You get on and you run. You go to your maximum and then you back off a little bit, and that's where you get your most benefit. But really now what I'm exploring is maybe that's not correct at all. So I'm going to continue to work on that, and I'll report in how that goes. But that's my current thing that I'm working on. Again, it's not an extensive list. I don't have a specific point in time, or goal. By the end of the month, I'm going to be here or there. I don't have the weight loss goal anymore. Obviously, I'm content with that. Obviously, I just want to maintain my lifestyle and make subtle incremental changes. And that's going to lead me to my advice for wherever you are, whatever kind of resolution you're considering, is to, like I said, don't make it some big emotional thing. Try to break it down into increments and take it step by step, and master each step. Make it a habit before you go on. For me, I'm a believer in the incremental approach. You can do almost anything if you just be patient and take your time and move one step at a time. I mean, you can move a mountain if you with a teaspoon. It may sound funny, but it's easy to take a scoop of dirt and move it with a teaspoon, right? You just do that enough times and you can move a mountain. This is the way I've approached a lot of things in my life and my work, is just to do repetitive little things over and over. And you don't have to have a lot of emotion to do that. That will come, let's say, as you build on success, as you see these little small changes starting to take root and starting to show that you're heading in the right direction, the feeling will grow. You will become more positive, and you will be more determined than ever. But going slow, why I think it's important is because you have a desire to be something different, some other goal that you don't have now. The thing is, it's like a wish, it's a desire. Your body, though, your body and the deep recess part of your brain is resistant to all that. Your body and brain don't know anything about this other person you want to be, or this lower weight. Your body and mind are really just there to protect you and maintain the status quo, and they're not so interested in rapid, sudden changes. In fact, it's going to resist you. It's going to fight you. And this is why I say to go slow, because you must allow time for your body and mind to come along for the ride. And they will eventually. I mean, I talk of like it's another entity, but it is. The way I look at it, there's it's different parts of your mind, and yeah, there's part of you that, I want to be that thinner person wearing different clothes and doing all these things. In the deep recesses of your mind, it doesn't know about that other person. That doesn't exist. It just wants to maintain where you are. But if you keep persistently moving slowly, the deep recesses in your mind and your body will follow you. It will come along. But any sudden moves it's gonna see as it's gonna shut you down. And believe me, your body and mind can shut you down, and will if you because of the protective aspect. Like I said, I alluded to earlier, the running. If you run with that high heart rate, your body's going to try to protect you. Your body's saying, "Oh my God, this is a threat." There must be some animal it's a fight or flight response. So that's why it starts the hormonal response. The adrenaline. We need adrenaline. We need quick energy. We need, we need to deal with stresses. You don't want that kind of reaction when you're making these subtle changes, okay? Because your body will win. You're not going to convince your body just by willpower, okay? So that's why I advocate a slow approach. Your body will catch up if you go slow. So set little goals. Back to my old days, I had a habit. I used to drink Coke every day. Let's say I drank 5 cans of Coke a day. Let's say my very first baby step is to have no more than 2 cans of Coke a day. Okay. Maybe I do that for a few weeks and it's too easy. So I go, okay, 1 can, fraction of a can. And then, eventually, if it feels right, just get rid of it altogether. But that incremental approach, to me, works better. Now, it could also be, if your goal is small enough, like I said, eliminating the Coke. If you make these small incremental goals, it may also be just as easy for some people with some habits to just take the other approach, rip the Band-Aid off, just eliminate it. Now, I only say that, I think that could be successful if you really zoomed in and focused on one small aspect. Like, maybe you're not such a big Coke drinker or sugar addict, and you only have one per day. So yeah, rip the Band-Aid off and just eliminate it. And you might have a little tough going for a while. But if you're, so I'm saying you have to kind of scale the response based on how bad your addiction is or how ingrained the habit is in your mind that you're trying to eliminate. But if you're not looking at changing everything in totality all on January 1st, that's not going to work. But if you zoomed in and you found one thing, what one thing can I do this first week of January that I can pretty much say it can be achieved? What can I achieve that seems realistic right now? Take that first step and then build on it. Make it a habit. Make it a daily habit. I prefer changing things and never going back. Make it a permanent change. Again, if you zoomed into one small thing, let's say one little thing, it's easier to make permanent changes. You can't just reinvent yourself by willpower all at once and say, okay, on January 1st, I'm no longer going to have junk food. I'm going to change my diet. I'm going to be this big weightlifter guy. And that's going to fail because you can't do it all at once. So I think I made the point here. There's a place for the do it all at once type of thing if it's a small enough thing that you think could be sustainable. And if it's not, then try it. Try doing that same thing, but just incrementally. But my whole point in this is to break it down and build on successes. When you have passed that, made that first step, and you changed your habit, and you're now, let's say your habit was to simply walk every day. Walk for a half an hour, which is a good place to start for exercise. You're doing that, and it's a habit, and it's part of your life, and you feel good doing it. Okay, now you're at the next stage. You can build on that. Maybe add a little bit to it. Again, don't go nuts with it. Don't think you're gonna conquer everything all at once, but maybe add some kind of weights to the equation, or some kind of body weight exercise, or maybe some kind of other activity. Build on your successes. Let your successes accumulate, and then move forward. That's kind of my general advice. I don't want to get too specific because, look, I'm not an expert on reinventing, all different little aspects of your life. I mean, I have had success here in recent years with diet and exercise and weight loss, and I'm kind of sharing my thought process that I've used over the last 3 years, which has been pretty successful for me. So I'll leave it at that and just say, don't do it all at once. Set little goals and track your results. And I think that is an important part of it, is to kind of, if it's something you can measure it. If it's weight you're pursuing, measure your weight. In terms of exercise, it's sort of easy to measure because there's clocks and there's speed, and you can measure heart rate, weight, but also there's mood, and how you feel is a part of it too. But go incrementally, be consistent, give it time, give your body and mind time to adapt. There's going to be an adaptation phase for everything you do. First, it's going to feel good, and then maybe you're sore, and then maybe you tweak a little bit, and then you find a path. Okay, conquer a certain level, and then move on a little bit. But you're going to need to track, though, in order to know that you've conquered it. And here's the biggest thing, I guess, for me. whatever you're doing, don't beat yourself up if you make a little progress and then it sort of stalls. Because this is the thing that I did differently over the last 3 or 4 years that I didn't do all my life. In the past, if I hit a stall, I would read it as a failure and give up, use it as an excuse to give up. And that's the worst, obviously the worst thing you do. So my attitude now is, and what I recommend is, you may not get all the way there, okay, right away, whatever your goal is, but for goodness sakes, preserve your gains that you have made. Never let that go. Hold on to them, because you are going to figure it out. You may have moved 25% of the way and then kind of plateaued and kind of don't sense any more forward progress. Maintain that 25%. That's fine. Meanwhile, while you're thinking about what you're going to do next, and you don't have to panic, you don't have to get super emotional, don't give up. Just be thinking about, okay, what is my next step? What's going to get me past this 25%? What do I need to do next? What tweak? And you'll figure it out. You'll figure it out. So that's my main goal. If you just never cede the territory that you've gained, and maybe that's harder to do than it sounds, because our tendency is for often that we just want to throw in the towel and give up. Well, I'm a fail. I'm not going to get to my goal. You look at that goal that was 100%. You think, I'm not there. I'm only 25%. And you beat yourself up into it being a failure. You can't look at it that way. It's just like it's a temporary situation while you reformulate your plan and find out what it's going to take to kickstart it. And I tell people, shake things up. Don't abandon everything. Don't try totally changing. Go with what got you there. Something changed. Something positive you've done has got you 25% of the way. Maybe you just haven't gone far enough. Maybe you haven't changed your diet enough. Maybe you need to explore. Like for me, the two things I've mentioned numerous times were meal frequency and changing the diet. Maybe you got to do some of that. Maybe you have to add a bit of fasting. But those are the times that test your character, when you stalled. And if you can just hold on, you're going to build inner strength by preserving that 25%. If you can look at that as a success, that you didn't seed the ground, you're going to build inner strength, and that's going to set you up for the next step, the next path forward, the next jump to 50 and 75%. The fact that you had the strength to maintain your gains. I hope this makes some sense and will benefit some people. Stay positive. As I always say, keep moving forward. And that's kind of what I mean is, if you only make part of the way, just keep moving forward. Even if it's tiny, tiny steps, you're going to get there. Climbing a mountain, you can move a mountain or climb a mountain with tiny little incremental steps. Anyway, again, I wish everyone success and with their journeys and health and all aspects of your lives going forward in 2020. I look forward to making more videos and documenting my journey. Again, right now I'm just looking to maybe build on physical health and other aspects of my life that I might want to improve, I'm constantly looking at it and evaluating it. Again, I'm not going to wait until a specific date on the calendar to make changes. I'll kind of just continue to evolve. And okay, Happy New Year, everyone, and I'll see you in the next video soon. Take care and have a good day.